Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Here we go. Happy 4th of July, my fellow film buffers. I'm here to complain, but before we do that, before you hear this Grinch-like film reviewer, film critic, film discussioner, as I like to call myself, yeah, it's the 4th of July, and I gotta go into work. Yeah, believe it or not, I have someone coming in from another state, and we have to jump on a project that is literally probably 6 years in the making. You know, when you deal with larger companies, when you deal with companies that do a lot of business, information and data, as you can imagine, is critical. What's the most critical piece of data outside of your human resources data will be finance, and that's what I'll be focused on today. You know, I'm not leading this. I'm essentially stepping into this just as assistance, and to lend an extra hand because, well, it's the holiday. Few people are available, but also because of the now national holiday. Everyone was off Thursday, Friday. And then we have the weekend. Really good, like 4 to 5 day window to deal with sensitive things where the company is sleeping for a little bit. So as the beast sleeps, I will be toiling away. So that's what I'm doing on July 4th. Growing up though, because I did want to touch on this before we get into talking about movies. July 4th always was like a big holiday. I would say July 4th, Thanksgiving, and Christmas were, it was just the trifecta. Not I didn't become like a Halloween person until adulthood. Even though we would go out for mischief night on Halloween and just wreak havoc. We were bad kids. On mischief night. We would climb on top of the elementary school and steal balls, Nerf footballs, those red kickballs, yeah, tennis balls, baseballs, frisbees. We would comb the top of the school, and that was our mischief night. We would all have bags of sporting goods, and we also threw apples at people. So there you go. But for 4th of July, like always impactful, always significant, because we would have everyone over, like the entire extended family, the cousins. We would have, like, it just seemed like sometimes we would have like 8 to 10, 10 to 12 families all crammed together in multiple pools in New Jersey. We had 3 houses, and we would just have these just like giant parties. The kids would be going from one house to the other, jumping fences, multiple grills going. It was really just like a absolute celebration of everything about the holiday. And what's the holiday? The holiday is a reason to get friends and family together. We eat all day, swim all day, and then eventually crash out, go to bed, and then like the parents would just all be on like one deck, grinding the midnight, burning the midnight oil, grinding into daylight. And then the next day was my birthday. But we would maybe, like, some years we waited for 4th of July. There would be birthday gifts, and then some years we would wait. Yeah, as I got older, we would just push it till like July 5th, and then eventually it wasn't until I hit a couple age milestones, like 25, 30. Like those are the milestones where we would just get together. So we would all just do like a big dinner for my birthday. But I traditionally, uh, I I like other people's birthdays because it's an opportunity for, for me just to let someone know I'm thinking of them. And throughout the years, I've been very diligent in tracking birthdays. My calendar is just littered. It seems like I have a few a week. And I try. I will send you a happy birthday until uh, you change your phone number or you text me, who's this? And then, or if I send you a happy birthday and you don't respond, and you hit me up later asking me for something, I'll just say, look, dude, like I think we're done. Friendship was nice, but I did send you a happy birthday and I got no response. And I just think, though, right, if someone reaches out to you on your birthday, I understand, like around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, you're just inundated, not just with messages, but with lots of activities, and it might take you a couple days to go through, Merry Christmas messages and things like that. And the crazy thing is, I get a quicker response, and this is all anecdotal, but I will get a quicker response on Christmas and Thanksgiving than I do when I wish some people a happy birthday. Isn't that wild? It's the craziest thing. But I use it as an opportunity to say, hey, I'm thinking of you. Like, thank you for being around. Thank you for having a couple adventures with Peter. Because usually, if you get a happy birthday message, we maybe been through the fire and the rain a couple times. And right now, uh, in Philly, they canceled the 250th uh, parade due to the heat wave. I have to go into work, so I'm going to walk probably a mile and 1.4 miles through this heat. I did it yesterday on July 3rd. Worked a full day in preparation to this big project we have culminating. Yes, it's data transfer. Yes, we have to do it because we got to take advantage of the federal holiday, things like that. But no one's really motivated to do anything outside. Like, that's how suffering, and it feels. I get it. We can have a heat index and humidity, this and that, but it feels different than any of the numbers. It is a heavy, strong heat. It's very similar to when it gets super cold, where a lot of times, like, you swing that door open or you step out and you just get hit with like a wall, like an air of that temperature. I'm used to it during the winter when it gets crazy cold. We haven't had it here for heat for quite some time, but you walk outside, it just feels like an ocean of heat just around you, and it doesn't take long to work up a sweat. Usually, I'll get like a little sweaty by the time I get to City Hall, which is roughly 800, like maybe like 3/4 of a mile from where I live, like three times around the track. So let's get into it. Those are all your Peter updates. That's a little bit of my Fourth of July, just how much it changed throughout the years. But being in Philly, I will touch on this real quick. Usually during Fourth of July, I like going to Old City. I like spending time at City Hall, even though I spend time at City Hall every single day. Uh, I like to go to the old Jefferson House, which is, again, like less than a mile from where I live. The funny thing is, the Jefferson House is near the corporate headquarters of Five Below. Yeah, I love stuff like that. But yeah, and I like walking around the available history that I have here, and some of it is no different than my normal trek in the work week or in the regular week of mine. But I like to walk around in remembrance and just kind of be very mindful of where this country came from. And I get it. We can always argue about where it's going. They've been arguing about where this country is going since its inception. They've been arguing that for 250 years. But as I think, as long as we're in it together, that's the goal, right? Like, and we do have to kind of honor those who came before us, and what they believed and what things were founded on, and what the baseline of some of these thoughts are. Like, we're talking about the differences between how Europe ruled, what was happening in France, what was happening in England, and then everything that kind of created the American Revolution. And keep in mind that the Revolution was, I think, what, 8 years, right? Followed by the French Revolution, like almost immediately after. And you guys want to talk about crazy history? The U.S. has their revolution, highly influenced and affected the French. So the French have their revolution, and then theirs is nearly like 9, 10 years, and then they get into like Napoleon. Yeah, it's like the French have a wild run for about like 20 years. France just seemed just like a MTV spring break house. uh so touching on some of this, and maybe you can see the segue coming. The birth of this country and the blood that was shed, the I just think the logistics of some of the battles, and everything kind of like stemming out of the French Indian War, guys like George Washington. There's a lot out there to adapt. The stories, the individual sagas, if you will, and then the overall just like political frenzy. The American Revolution is absolutely unique. I think it's the most interesting revolution that we have worldwide. I really do, because you don't get the level of win, yeah, the level of change, and then within like 250 years, just see how that truly affected the rest of the world. And it is, America is still to this day a beacon. That's why so many people want to come here. They will do everything they can to leave their country to come here. And the people who are affluent in the other countries, they're here. Like they, like it's a little bit wacky with the amount of foreign money, foreign real estate, foreign investment that we have, and it kind of like doesn't go the other way around. You don't get a lot of investment outside the U.S. Uh, like there's some technologies, there's some tech, there's some minerals, and earth minerals, like so to speak. uh not a lot of energy, but if you want to consider oil energy, then yes. I do believe we're in a little bit of this like energy revolution, because it just seems like the US right now controls the worldwide oil, which is something I thought I would like never see. But everything I'm talking to you about, and if there's anything that kind of creates a light bulb in your head, that's a movie. The history of oil leading into the invasion, or Iran war, if you want to call it the Iran incursion, everything from Venezuela. There is a movie about how oil became a part of the Republic of America, or the democracy of America. Like oil became democratic. It's now in the better hands. You want oil in the hands of the capitalists. I do feel like everybody wins with that. Everyone has an option. I feel there is a story in going from the American Revolution to the 60s. My father being a child of the 60s, you can tell a story from the birth of a nation to the 60s. And yeah, I get it. It's pretty wide into the socialist movement that we have right now. Like there's real narratives, there's real stories, but we don't get them in Hollywood. So leading into the July 3rd drop of The Patriot, the 2000 movie with Mel Gibson, directed by Roland Emmerich, I went through a heck of a lot of movies. Like I went through nearly every single movie that takes place around the American Revolution. In the last 2 years, we did the two notables, which is Revolution and The Patriot, and then at that point on, we have 1776, which is a adaptation of a musical. We have I believe it might have been in 1984, 1985. There's one about the Constitutional Convention. I forget the name of that one. That takes place here in Philly, which is amazing. But there's a movie about the Constitutional Convention. There's a young George Washington movie now that's going viral, but there's no other like George Washington movie. And if you read any biography on Washington, uh, it's absolutely fascinating. It just seems like everything that they say about this guy is just made up. So it's not like we don't have the narratives, the stories. If you want to call everything woke now, I would love to see some of these progressive artists and filmmakers uh, give their perspective and give their spin on how we view some of American history right now. And it all just can't be racism is bad and everything about the slave trade and that. I mean, I would love a real movie about the slave trade, about the African lords that conquered and sold off everyone. Like that's like sold them off to the colonies. Like really wild stuff. Or how African trade got embedded in European society first, and then the colonies were settled and built, and that practice carried over. I think there's just a lot of good stories out there. Hollywood and the entertainers that we trust don't believe so. They rather uh, make like I guess maybe like interject their beliefs in other parts of society. I'll say like like they're more interested in the news cycle than they are giving their perspective, and some of the perspective too can come with evidence and ideas, and that some of these big movies that we might get can, are a part of sharing the idea and embedding the culture, good or bad. Like look, you can like look into it as much as you want, but a lot of people believe Thomas Jefferson had slave children, and it's just a story that came up one time, like one accuser type thing, and there's just like no other evidence to support that. And there's so much of Jefferson's life, absolutely not just documented by him, but even his own slaves documented a lot of Jefferson's life and practices, and so much of that doesn't line up. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing because every single like you think for Fourth of July I should have 10 years worth of movies. I really don't. For a film buff, we only have a few, and that's a little bit what I wanted to say today. Just I don't know how a storytelling town, culture, society, if you will, of Hollywood, how so much of the American Revolution can be ignored. Fascinating. But all right, AKA Powders, happy 4th of July. I love you guys. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.